Good morning. Aloha. Here on Maui, driving through Pu'unene where it doesn't smell anymore, surprisingly. Those of you from Maui would know what I'm talking about by the sugar mill here. Yeah, it used to smell awful right here, like beyond awful. I got cut off on the last video talking about castles, but there wasn't much more to say. Castles, big, beautiful, rights and lefts. There's a few places right in front of the Outrigger Canoe Club, in front of Kaimana Beach, that work on different swells. So I'll talk about the first one. Is it's called No Place, and No Place is a trip. It's on a south swell, like a normal summertime south swell. It's not even a wave, like it doesn't even exist. It's either castles or Uluwatu's. No Place is like nothing, bunch of rocks basically. But when a west swell comes in, like a wintertime, like a big straight west wrap we call it. It's sorry about that sun there. I don't know what to do about it. It's a really good wave. It's a right and a left, kind of a better right than a left. But yeah, it's a surprisingly hollow right, rippable, pretty long. Got some little coral head sections to run into, but No Place on a west is a rare treat. Super cool wave. There's a couple spots I'm just barely gonna mention. Windsock. There's a windsock outside of Kaimana Beach, Outrigger Canoe Club there, that on a west swell, I don't know, something happened with the sand. It used to break. There used to be like a weird little peak right there that you could surf. And then inside is a place called Jetties, where as a little kid we used to surf it. Same thing, doesn't exist anymore. Something happened with the hurricanes and the way the sand is in the channel or something. Anyway, outside of that channel, that boat channel, is there's like a big kind of coral head garden right by the windsock, big coral head field. And then outside of that is a spot called Old Man's, and Old Man's is, I could talk about Old Man's for a long time. Old Man's was like, that was like our big wave spot as kids, because we used to kind of hang around that area down there. Old Man's, like, it's a pretty slopey, powerless, but like looks big. It's weird. Like Old Man's like seems bigger than it is. Like a 4-footer at Old Man's will seem like, this huge like Makaha kind of wave. But it's a really cool wave. So there's kind of the main peak of Old Man's. It's a long left into the channel, and then it's the right is a little steeper and more powerful. And I've actually caught some like pretty heavy rights right there. Like the bigger it gets, that you can like luck into like a pretty nuts double up right there, like 4 or 5 feet and bigger. And that right will close out into a left, and that's what they call the sandbar, Old Man's sandbar. And that's what it is. There's like a bunch of sand, and over the years the sand has built up, and the sandbar is like a left, coming into the right of Old Man's proper, and the sand has built up over the years, and now it's like super shallow. Where it used to be that Old Man's wouldn't even break until it's like at least overhead, now Old Man's you can surf it at like 2 feet. It's a trip. There's like a lot of sand nowadays. Okay. Outside and towards Diamond Head from Old Man's is probably my favorite wave in the world. Not even probably, straight up my favorite place in the world. I can't even say enough about Rice Bowls. Rice Bowls is like just such a rare gem in the middle of these kind of mediocre waves. It's, to me, I guess I shouldn't talk too much about it. Whatever. It's so crowded nowadays. It's ridiculous. It's, I think, the best wave on the South Shore. So rice bowls is just a big barreling left. What else can I say? It's you get these double ups that come in, and it's just so round and beautiful, and the it's like sandy reef, so the water gets kind of churned up, and you get this really cool kind of light turquoise color, and just round. What can I say? If you get a real good double up at rice bowls, that's the best way to describe it. Is just round and barreling and pretty heavy. Like, yeah, it's got some power. It's really got power. I mean, it's a really, really good left. And then the right is the same thing, super round. I mean, you can get so barreled going right out there. When I was younger, rice bowls used to scare the death out of me and my friends. But as we got older, like, I used to kind of venture out there a little more and more with my brother. I kind of stuck to the rights, just because it seemed like a little easier front side. And yeah, got some of the best barrels of my young life. I think my first like legitimate barrel that you know, when you grow up surfing and you're thinking you're getting barreled, and then you get a barrel where you got barreled. And I don't know how old I was, but I remember I think, kind of saying, oh, I got barreled at Kaiser's, I got barreled, but I'm thinking I'm saying it, but I'm thinking I think I was kind of in there. You're like asking your friend, what was I in the barrel? It's like, no, not really. But my first wave that I really was like, oh my god, that I really got barreled, that was rice bowls right, for sure. I get excited thinking about it. As rice bowls gets big, I'm not gonna get into what rice bowls is good on and what tide and all that. But suffice to say, it needs swell. There needs to be solid south swell. As it gets bigger, it starts kind of capping on the outside, a thing called the launching pad. And so, on a really big south swell, it's kind of like a roll in. It's just what it sounds, a launching pad. You can sit out there and just kind of paddle into a big white water and stand up, and you pretty much just coast right through the crowd and yell guys off, whatever, and set up your barrel. And it's my best rice bowls waves have been launching pads. Yeah, because you can really set it up really good in the crowd. You're not jockeying for position in the bowl and taking off late. So that's the launching pad. And then rice bowls can get too big, for sure. Can get too big. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, it doesn't really handle any bigger than 6 feet. 6 feet is definitely the max. Once it starts getting 6 feet, the launching pad becomes a wave. And I've never surfed it. I remember the one really big day I surfed Castles. I was recovering from a broken foot, and I was on my big 8.0 Jorge Vicente gun at Castles, just kind of having some fun out there. And I remember looking over and seeing this left, and it was super heavy top to bottom, like 8 to 10, one of the gnarliest I've ever seen in Hawaii. And a couple guys were surfing it. Dave Wassel was out there, and I talked to him later. He had actually gotten some crazy ones. So I don't even know what you call that. Launching pad left, I guess, but it's rare. It's only on the biggest of the big south swells will you get that launching pad. All right, that's a mouthful. Old man's rice bowls. Do another video soon. Aloha.